Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a deleted user in the Relationship Advice subreddit. The post is titled, "I found out that my wife cheated on me with my dad and got pregnant. My dad was a good guy when I was growing up. However, when I was about 12 years old, my grandmother died. He didn't take it well and became a depressed alcoholic, wasting all the money he could get his hands on for booze and rum. He got fired from his job because he rarely went to work, and my mom got so fed up with him that she gave him an ultimatum. He had to clean up his act within a month or leave. He didn't comply, and my mother kicked him out. I always felt bad because he lost his mom, job, and family. I tried calling him, but he never picked up. He wasn't in my life for 14 years, and although I tried to get in contact with him again later on, probably after changing his number, we never met." Fast forward to around February of this year, I received a call from a random number. It turned out to be my dad. He wanted us to meet at a park just for a talk. I agreed, and the next day we had a long chat about everything we'd done over the past 14 years. This gave me some closure. It brought back that feeling of connection we shared before his mother passed away. He had been living in another country where he managed to turn his life around, enough so that neither my mother nor I would be opposed if he came back home now. I don't know if it took 14 years for him to change or not. I digress anyway. My mother is currently caring for her sick mother abroad and won't be returning home anytime soon. Therefore, I offered him accommodation at our house as long as he paid for his own utilities. When I brought him home, Sarah, my wife, was initially opposed but calmed down once she learned that Dad would cover what he used himself, financially speaking. Their relationship started off strained but eventually warmed up significantly over time. Looking back now though, there were some red flags, like times they'd laugh together then say nothing when asked what was funny. They just continued their jokes instead. I also noticed that my wife became less and less intimate with me, and when I would try to initiate something, she was either in pain, sleepy, or on her period. Fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, I had a double shift and got home exhausted. However, when I opened the door, my dad was deeply involved with Sarah. I was incredibly livid. It was the first time I wanted to physically assault someone. I turned around, but they started screaming my name, telling me they wanted to talk. I ignored them and drove over to my friend Michael's house. I called my boss and told her that I wouldn't be able to go to work because of a family problem. She understood, so I stayed at Michael's house for almost a week. It was there that I cried my eyes out. It felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest. I hated my father the most because he had left me for 14 years, only to come back and betray me with my wife. I was seriously contemplating some dangerous thoughts when Michael dissuaded me from acting on them. After I cooled down a bit, I went back home to find out what had happened. Sarah had been calling my phone, and when she saw me, it was clear that she hadn't gotten enough sleep. Her eyes were red. My father came up from the basement, and I asked them to tell me when this started, how long it had been going on, and why they did it. My dad said that it had been happening for a couple of months because Sarah made him feel young again. As he was making excuses, Sarah was crying silently, holding her head and whispering, "I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me." After he finished speaking, they dropped a bombshell on me. Sarah was pregnant and he was probably the father. I was seething inside and seriously wanted to harm them both, but managed to keep myself composed enough to ask what she wanted to do with the child. Sarah wanted to keep the baby because our religion frowns upon abortion, a notion that struck me as ironic given our situation, so I asked her if Catholicism also frowned upon cheating. She silently sobbed again. My father said he wanted her to keep the child so that he could be an active parent, a role he failed in with me. Then Sarah shamelessly asked if I would help raise the kid. I told her to go away and informed her that we would be getting a divorce. She begged me not to do so in the name of our religion, it being wrong for us, but I was too angry. If she came near me, then maybe even hit her. My father asked me not only forgive, but also consider staying together for our renewed relationship's sake. I told him off as well. I feel absolutely sickened by all this. Both Sarah and my dad have been blowing up my phone asking for forgiveness or reconsideration, but put their calls on do not disturb mode instead. It hurts so much because my wife, the woman whom loved more than life itself, cheated on with my dad, whom just reconnected after years apart. Honestly feeling torn now. Is there any advice anyone can offer in this situation? User Desert Redhead said, "Lawyer up and file for divorce." Sarah may try to come after you for child support since you were married at the time she became pregnant. If she does, insist on a DNA test. User Rainleen said, you need to divorce her as soon as possible. Find a lawyer and make them aware of everything. Ensure that you kick them out and do not provide for her while she is pregnant. This is crucial. She might tell the court that you provided for her and helped her through pregnancy, knowing the child wasn't yours, which could obligate you to continue providing support. Additionally, if the child is born during your marriage, I believe you can be considered the presumptive father. Given that you share DNA with your father, I'm unsure if a DNA test would help your case at this point. Do not trust this woman in any way or form. Consider all possibilities. This situation seems so surreal that I want to believe you're joking because it's hard to imagine such betrayal. This next post was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Dog Eat Dog. The post is titled, I'm leaving my husband because I found that he has been making fun of me behind my back to his ex. My husband and I met about 6 years ago. We have been married for 1 year. When we met, I was very fit and athletic. However, I started gaining weight after suffering 2 miscarriages and the loss of my mother to cancer. I was very depressed and barely got out of bed, if not to go to work. I stopped exercising and instead started eating junk food. I gained 40 pounds in 2 years. During this time, my husband was very supportive and loving. I felt guilty and tried to give him an out several times, but instead he proposed and we got married last summer. Since our marriage, I have been feeling much better, and it showed. I have lost around 20 pounds so far, and I regained my muscles and abs. He was so happy to see me feeling better. On his computer, however, it was a totally different story. He was talking almost throughout our entire relationship to his ex-wife about me. His ex-wife left him about 7 to 8 years ago for her colleague. The relationship didn't work out, however, and she tried to get back together with my husband. He had already met me, but they stayed friends, mostly via chat and texting since she lives 12 hours away. My husband was complaining about everything regarding me, my job, my depression, my cooking, but mostly about my weight. He told her how disgusting he found me, how he even struggled to share the same bed since I snored like a dog. He sent her pictures of me while sleeping, sometimes in my underwear, with comments about my belly, double chin, back boobs, etc. She found these pictures extremely amusing and came up with the name White Whale. They both found it hilarious, and now this is what they refer to me as. They don't flirt exactly or talk about being together or starting an affair, but they do say that they miss each other and reminisce about the time they were married. She is more flirtatious and he really enjoys it. Whatever he's telling her isn't what I have experienced with him. I don't disgust him, he tells me that he loves me all the time. We have great and passionate sex, and the way he touches and makes love to me is so wonderful that he must be a really good actor if he were truly disgusted by me. He hates the few times we have to sleep apart. He's lying, and I don't know why he's doing it. He's lying to one of us, and I'm not sure if I want to know who he's lying to and why. I have decided to get out of this marriage and leave this behind me. Right now, I'm acting like everything is normal, but I have started looking for a new job in another city and a place to rent. I also started taking birth control pills in case something happens between us, and I have talked to a lawyer to prepare for the divorce and start the process once I'm gone. One thing I'm not going to do is fall back into depression and weight gain. I will not allow it. What a waste of love he has been. Edit, I can't believe I need to explain this about the birth control pills. It's a very simple explanation. Up until I went through his messenger, I loved and trusted this guy. We had a great sex life and we were trying to conceive. When I read what he had written and saw the way he took pictures of me sleeping, something happened inside me. It was as if I no longer knew the person in front of me. I can't read his face and I don't trust him. I don't know how long I will need to stay under the same roof as him. I don't know what his reaction would be if I refused him for a long period of time without a real excuse. I don't know what else he is capable of besides taking pictures of sleeping people. I don't know if, in a moment of weakness, I might succumb to lust, or if he could, for a moment, fool me into believing that he actually loved me. For all these reasons and many darker scenarios that I have played out in my head, I'm taking extra precautions. Anyone with the intelligence of a chicken could understand that, or so I hope. Thank you everyone for the support. I will update you when I know more about where I'm headed. Update. I don't know how to make an update, but my original post is in my profile. However, I'm feeling happy, so happy for the first time in weeks, and I wanted to share that with you since many of you supported me and requested an update. I thought it would be the decent thing to do. So here comes nothing. I didn't pry or spy on my husband. I used his MacBook to do some work and he had forgotten to log out of Facebook and Messenger. He has never given me any reason to spy on him. After I found out, however, I would occasionally check his phone, maybe hoping that it was all a bad joke. He continued complaining, and now he was telling her that I was being distant and cold in manner and that he was tired of me. He even lied and told her I was gaining even more weight even though I'm not. He told her we weren't having because he couldn't find it under the rolls of fat, a joke that she highly appreciated. I didn't spy after that. I got the confirmation I needed. In the meantime, he acted as the worried husband with me, concerned about my well-being and asking if I was going through a new depression. He told me he loved me and that he was there for me. He did everything like previous times when I had dips, called from work, came home with takeout from my favorite restaurants, did all the cleaning and washing around the house, baked fresh bread in the mornings, brought flowers and chocolate, and asked me if I wanted to go for nighttime drives or walks. How can anyone be so two-faced? I have a big sister who lives in another city. I told her that I was leaving my husband and that I was looking for jobs in her city. My sister is married and she lives with her husband and daughter in a big house. She offered me one of her spare bedrooms. I got a few job interviews and one of them turned into an offer. It's not exactly in my field of work and it came with a significant decrease in salary, but I thought about it, and it's a good start until something more suitable comes up. I didn't want to prolong my stay with him any longer, and a decrease in income is a good sacrifice since I'm going to have lower rent. I'm also selling my car since the new job is within walking distance from my sister's house. No more worries about the crazy gas prices. My new job starts on October 1st. I'm working my notice period from my computer. During the 2 months between jobs, I'm just going to have fun and work on myself. I took my name off the lease, but I'm going to pay for 2 more months. I left him last Sunday. The night before, I prepared a very nice dinner and I made love to him all night. It felt so good to hear him whisper how much he loved me and how lucky he was to have me. In the morning, I left the divorce papers and my attorney's number in the kitchen. When I got to my sister's place, I finally could tell her and the rest of my family about everything. I showed them all his conversations and even the pictures he had taken of me. They're all angry at him. He has been calling and texting obsessively, but he doesn't know where I live now. He emailed and sent direct messages as well. He went to my parents' house, but they just shunned him at the door and advised him to let me go. Maybe he knows now because he's been asking for an explanation and apologizing, etc. I don't care. All I've texted back is that if he wants to convey a message, he could do it through my lawyer. User Ghostface said, "What a moron. His ex leaves him for someone else and he throws away what he has now to make her giggle." Thankfully, OP got on the computer that day and found out what was really going on. User Coco said, "It is so creepy that he did that for attention. He was keeping his ex roped in like that and enjoyed her flirting. I bet he would move to cheating at some point." To this user, Saruheim said, "While not physically cheating, he was already emotionally cheating." User Mandy J said, "My ex was narcissistic and ended up being a paranoid schizophrenic. He would do things like this and tell other girls that we were just friends or whatever he needed to say to get in their pants. I caught him cheating a couple of times before I wised up." People who are so loving to your face 1 minute and then act like that behind your back are extremely dangerous. I hope OP stays no contact. What a boss move. Good for you. This last post was made in the Relationship Advice subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "My wife wants to divorce me after we found out she couldn't conceive. We have been married for 5 years and have been trying to conceive for some time. We went through an array of tests and found out she couldn't get pregnant. IVF is not an option. Starting a family and raising children were things we both wanted to do, so it was pretty shocking. My wife has taken this very badly. She has been moody and angry. I have tried to give her space and talk to her, but she lashes out at both. It has been a week and she said she wants to file for divorce and be done with our marriage. She sounds angry when she talks about it, stating that it is better to get it over with now. We got into an argument and she said I should find a woman who could give me what I want. I have tried to convince her that I have no intention of leaving her, but she doesn't believe me. I don't know what to do here. I know she is just trying to deal with all these emotions by turning them into anger and projecting them onto me. I don't know how to handle this. She is supposed to be the rational one in the relationship. We have gone through a lot and she has dealt with everything with calmness. I know she is hurting a lot and I wish I could help her feel a bit better. Update. A lot has happened. I asked her if she wanted to get divorced in 6 months' time. We could consider it, but we should drop the topic for now. She agreed to this. I took over most of the cooking and made her all of her favorite dishes. She was still angry, but less so. 2 days ago, she was finally in a place to process her emotions. She spent half the night crying in my arms. It was heartbreaking, but I held on. This morning, I cracked a joke and she laughed after what felt like a long time. She said she was going to start therapy because she wanted to be in a good mental place before we began any adoption process. There is a lot of work ahead of us, but I am fairly certain I am not getting divorced in 6 months. User Dan Ban said, nice and concise. Poor woman took it very hard. Glad OP was patient. User Nerd Yogi said, it's always so gratifying to read stories like this, where a partner is supportive and communicative with their significant other, and they come together in a healthy way. I hope the adoption process goes smoothly for them once they're ready. User Sincerely Cynical said, I hope they talk to adoptive families before they start. We learned so much the hard way during our process. When we finally got on the right path, it was incredible. We were told it would take 12 months to get certified and then another 12 to 18 months before we would get matched. We got matched just a few weeks into the certification process. My friend, who used the same agency, waited 3 years and never got matched. A year after they left the agency, they received a call from a friend of a friend. They just celebrated their second gotcha day with their now 5-year-old. Another friend waited 2 years to adopt a girl up to age 4 from one country. They're about to celebrate 6 years with their then 7-year-old, whom they adopted from a different country. Another friend waited 2 years to adopt a baby girl. They're celebrating 4 years with twins, a boy and a girl. Adoption is incredible, but it's almost never what you think it will be.